The director of the Spider-Man home franchise, we call it, he was gonna make a Fantastic Four movie. We got a Fantastic Four movie coming out this year, but I think it was in 2021. Was it was I think it was 2021, or maybe it was even Comic Con 2019 that it was announced that Jon Watts had a pitch and was going to direct the Fantastic Four. Well, that's not happening. After Spider-Man No Way Home, Jon Watts was out of gas, but his Fantastic Four vision lives on in the MCU. With the Fantastic Four First Steps approaching its summer release, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie's original director discusses why he departed the project. After his journey with WandaVision, Matt Shakman is rebooting Marvel's First Family for the MCU timeline since he helmed the Fantastic Four First Steps, which kicks off Phase 6 this summer. However, the plan was originally to have Jon Watts direct Marvel Studios' long-awaited Fantastic Four reboot in the MCU, but Watts, who had directed Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy, ended up exiting the film in April 2022, with Shackman then landing the gig in September that same year. Oh, sorry, I got hiccups. During a recent panel at the Mediterranean Film Festival with Collider Stephen Weintraub as the moderator, Watts got candid about stepping away from the Fantastic Four First Steps after having worked on Spider-Man No Way Home. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Watts admitted that he didn't feel he was the filmmaker to bring the Fantastic Four back to the big screen and shared the following. The emotional strain of having to go through all those COVID protocols while also trying to make something creative, while also trying to make sure that your cast and crew were all safe. Literally, people could have died if you did this wrong. That and the post-production process was very difficult. When you're doing visual effects work, there's a whole international component to it where you're using vendors from all over the world, and the supply chain had been interrupted because of COVID. It was really hard to get effects done in a traditional way. Yes, with that, they released this movie with VFX not done. They had to work on it, and then like a couple months later, they sent out new shipments of the little like of the digital thing or the film reel. I don't know what it is, but they had to send new ones out. By the time No Way Home was done and out, I went in to back. Wait, what the fuck? I went in to get back into the story for Fantastic Four. I was like, I'm out of gas. The COVID layer on top of it, making a giant movie layer on top of making a giant movie layer. I knew I didn't have what it would have taken to make the movie great. I was just so out of steam, so I just needed to take some time to recover. Everyone at Marvel totally understood. They had been through it all with me as well, so they knew how hard and draining that experience had been. In the end, very satisfying, but at some point, if you can't do it at the level that you feel like you need for it to be great, then it's better to not do it. So I am of two minds with this. Sometimes I just think, hey man, you made a commitment, you got to follow through. If you need to take a break, then just tell them to postpone the movie. It's not like the movie came out any sooner. You still got 3 years. So with that kind of sucks. I would have liked to have seen Jon Watts's vision, but at the same time, I also respect and admire the fact. Oops. I also respect and admire the fact that he's just like, hey, um, yeah, this movie's not going to be good if I go through with it right now. So it's best to give it to someone else. So I get that, and that's fine. Like I said, I'm of two minds about it. Let me know what you think about it. Watts went on to add, "I can't wait to see it though. I'm very excited." Then, when he was asked about whether any of his original ideas made it into Fantastic Four's First Steps, Watts elaborated, "I don't know exactly what happens in it, but I've seen the trailers. I've heard a couple things, and I think it's pretty close to what we had initially come up with in our story." God dang, I got trim my mustache. It's vibrating and tickling me. Obviously, it evolves and adapts over time, but the main villain, the basic threat, the broad strokes, the retro futurism version of Fantastic Four, it's going to be a totally surreal experience for me to go and watch that movie. So it sounds like he's got full support of Max Shackman, and he hopes the best for the movie. And yeah, so with that, what do you think about this? Did you wish that Jon Watts would have followed through and directed this movie? Are you excited for what we're about to see with Matt Shackman's The Fantastic Four? Is there somebody else that you would like to see take on the Fantastic Four? Let me know all that down below.